Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this bi-monthly chat of the IKoK, the International Koalition of Krones. I am Essence Catheris, founder and one of the Krones of the International Koalition of Krones, and I'd like to welcome you to this evening's chat, and I would like to thank you for joining us. We're truly honored that you have taken time out of your busy day and evening to join us in this most sacred of work. Before we move on any further, I would like to ask the other two Krones of the IKoK to introduce themselves. So, Kobaha.
Good evening, I'm Kobaha. I live in northern Arizona near Sedona. I am a spiritual facilitator, intuitive, and a crystal therapist. And I'm very excited about tonight's show and chat.
Hi, I'm Marianne. I come from the far north in Queensland, and I work here as a holistic therapist, meditation therapist, and recently exploring my whole zoo in the medicine that I'm bringing to this show. Thank you so much for joining us. Back to Essence.
Okay, thank you. Almost forgot to unmute, sorry. Okay, this evening, wow. This evening, our starting topic is creating unity within a realm of duality. Boy, big job, huh? But we just want to talk about how do we go about that? You know, that's kind of this evening's topic. We've got some ideas of our own, some inspirations that we've been guided and gifted from Spirit. And we'll also be asking anyone here who wants to share, you know, insights and information and knowledge that they hold, because we understand and we appreciate that everyone here is on a sacred path and is a part of this collective. Okay. Before we begin, we want to take a little bit of time to read the three actually, of I am keyword phrases from the Metatronic numerology. Metatronic numerology, for those of you who don't know me, I am a master Metatronic numerologist. That's part of my sacred work in this lifetime. And the I am keyword phrases of the Metatronic numerology are a way to connect to these energies, to these frequency waves, you know, just to say this simply. And they can be used as mantras, as focal points, and we're going to use them this evening. We use them to begin our chat as a way of us connecting and coming together and of creating a sacred space from within which we share this information and knowledge in these chats. So with that, the word's just gone. So with that shared, we'll just say that I'm going to share the first I am keyword phrase. It is for the 2266 dual frequency of the Metatronic numerology. This frequency is what we call the heart of the IKoK. So it is I am the master of divine balance. Through the remembrance of the singing of the sacred cosmic song of self, I ignite creation of new realities. I am that which balances, I am that which rebalances and heals. Since I made that mistake in saying it, I would like to say that one over one more time. I am the master of divine balance. Through the remembrance of the singing of the sacred cosmic song of self, I ignite creation of new realities. I am that which rebalances and heals. Just breathe into that energy. Those words bring forward for just a moment. connect, feel that within yourself and allow it to move through you and allow yourself to gift it back to the collective. The next I am keyword phrase is what I refer to as the 4 cornerstones. And we refer to this as the work of the IKoK. It is the 2277 dual frequency. It says, I am the form of the sacred structure of collective reality known through the awakened divine rational mind. I build reality upon the foundation whose cornerstones are honor, integrity, responsibility, and expansion of sacred perspective. I am the master builder of collective galactic realities. The work of the IKoK. The third and final I am keyword phrase and frequency used to create this sacred space in which we will work together tonight is the 655 dual frequency. And I share it as the star seed I am frequency. I am that which is aware of the responsibility of clearly hearing the voice of love. I am responsible for anchoring love's message of balancing within the collective field of humanity. I am starseed. I love those energies and those frequency and that weaving. Kara unsche prana. Kara unsche prana. In the language of Lemuria, that is a blessing. And it translates to I am the ancient future breath of life. Thank you all for joining. Thank you all for being a part of this work. We're honored. Okay, let's get right to it. What do you say? Like we've said, tonight's focus topic is creating unity within a realm of duality. We want to talk about some ways that we think that that's possible. Where to start, some actions to take, some physical work to do, and some energetic work to do in a basic sense. We were, in the past week, as the other 2 Krones and I, excuse me, I apologize, it's an Amber Alert, unfortunately, going off in our area, which means there's a missing child. So if we could take some of this love we have created here and wrap it around that situation, I think that would be a wonderful thing. Let's take just a moment to call for the protection of not only that child, but of all children. Creating unity within a realm of duality. The information that was brought forward for me and the other Krones in this week of, these last 2 weeks actually, of preparation, because believe it or not, we were actually given this topic about 2 days before the last chat, we knew that this would be the next chat. So with that, I want to start with this. So what is the answer? How do we do that? How do we create unity within a realm of duality, excuse me? Well, the answer to creating unity within a realm of reality is really simple. Sounds strange, I know. The answer is simple, but the implementation of the answer, that is where the difficult and seemingly impossible at this point in this collective's journey, that's where the work is. It's the implementation. I think we all understand in really very simple terms. The answer is simple. I mean, in one word, we can say the answer is love. You know, in one word. Well, we were shown that the answer to creating unity within a realm of duality is diversity. It's acceptance and allowance of diversity. I want to note here that there is a difference between acceptance and allowance, and we may talk on that a little bit more, but we're going to go forward right now with a little bit more about this. Humans tend to think that unity and diversity are diametrically opposed. I mean, if you hear those two words, unity and diversity, you know, we've been conditioned, we've been taught to understand these as, you know, they're separate. You know, unity means coming together, diversity means, you know, spreading apart and being all these different things. But the truth is, they're really two sides of the same coin. Unity does not mean non-diversity. Diversity is actually the strongest tool that we have for creating unity in a realm of duality. Okay, a realm of duality in which we live. Okay, first of all, this reality was created specifically as a realm of duality for that experience. We knew that when we came here. Okay, we're here to do that. It's gotten out of balance. Yeah, it's gotten out of balance, you know. But unity and diversity go hand in hand. You really can't have, not in a realm of duality. In a realm of duality, you cannot have unity without diversity. It doesn't work. Think of it this way, okay? First of all, this realm of reality, this reality experience, this collective reality experience is a realm of duality. What does that mean? It means this, you know, we use terms, and I'm just simply using terms to describe it, okay? That's all. We you know, you'll hear black and white, up and down, right and left, okay? Light and dark, good and evil, positive and negative. All of these things are just simply different terms for describing a realm of duality. Some people tend to think, I think that to have unity in a realm of duality, you kind of have to do away with duality. No, not going to work. Not going to work in a realm of duality. I mean, think about it, you know. That's what we came here for. We came here to experience being in a realm of duality. And I'm hearing the term to use right now, you know, I'm going to go with it, to master living and existing within a realm of duality. And to me, mastering existing in a realm of duality means finding the balance. All right. You can't do away with duality in a realm of duality, nor should you want to, should you even try. In my opinion, what we need to be working at is bringing it back into a more centered state of balance. It has, you know, it's like this diametrically opposed. I keep seeing like scales, you know, or a wide swing of a pendulum is actually something my guides have always use to explain to me. And that is, you know, and it goes wild from one extreme to the other. And if you think about, okay, you've got this really wide swing, well, it's way out of balance this way. And if you come within, and just to, you know, say this in a kind of a simple way, within 20, okay, the center point of balance, okay, stillness is just that. It's stillness. It's complete nothingness. Nothing exists. There's no experience to have. There's no movement. So you can't have an experience in stillness other than nothingness, not at complete stillness. So in a realm of duality, a swing begins, if you will. This is very simplified, but it's just kind of a visual to use. All right. A simple swing begins. And if you stay within a certain area, percentage, and the percentage that I'm always told by my guides, of course, being Metatronic numerologist, you know, there's always going to be numbers involved, most usually. 22% either side, 22 degrees either side of that stillness. I'm not going to get into why the 22 degrees, but it has to do, I will tell you this, with being master builder. All right. So in a very simplified way, anytime in a realm of duality, this reality exists within that swing of 22 degrees, either side of complete stillness or zero, okay, would be in those eras, those time frames, those linear time frames that humanity calls golden ages. Once you move outside of that, you begin leaving the golden ages, all right? The swing becomes wider and wider and wider. And just like with any pendulum, the further out you take it to one side, it's going to swing that complete amount to the other side. As it swings back and forth slowly over time, it comes into slower, it begins moving slower and slower and less until it comes into this 22 degrees. We're just using that as an analogy, either side of stillness, okay? And you can get down once you are within 11 degrees either side of that center point of stillness and balance. Then you begin moving into, how do I want to explain this? More of a state of collective experience of non-existence. So this is kind of getting off track. So maybe we need to just come back to explaining a little bit too much of the workings here of that. But that's my concept. That's how my guides tell me and show me. So right now, we're way out of balance. We're swinging way too wide, okay? But we're trying to, this collective is trying to, everyone knows that we are on the precipice of coming into these golden, what is known as a golden age cycle. And within this wide swing of the pendulum analogy, that's within that 22 degrees. Okay, so our work is to create unity within this realm of duality. I'm going to read my notes, come back to a little bit closer to what we want to talk about this evening more. So whoever that information was for, there you go, because I'm really not sure where that came from to share this evening. It was not on my list of things to share. So humans think unity and diversity are diametrically opposed to each other, when in fact they are two sides of the same coin. They go hand in hand. At least they do in a realm of duality. Our reality experience here in this realm is one of duality. It is meant to be. It was created just for that experience. There's no way to do away with duality, nor should we want to. Duality is what allows for diversity. Now here's a key. We're going to look at this and then we're going to, get into it. Duality is what allows for diversity. And diversity is the paintbrush of beauty. Okay? That our reality experience is created with, if you will, to use it as an analogy, meaning that diversity is what allows for the great expanse of beauty of this reality. Look at it this way. Let's use trees as an example. If this were not a realm of duality, there would be one tree on the whole, one kind of tree on the whole entire planet. One kind, that's it. You know, diversity. Diversity is what creates the beauty. Okay? Without diversity and duality, this collective experience, one kind of tree, one kind of flower, one kind of food, one kind of human. How boring. That's not what we're here to experience. That's not what we're here to create. Okay? I'm going to throw out a little bit more, and then I am hearing, I think it's going to go over to Ariane, is what I'm hearing, because she's got some information to share about an animal that came in. She told me about. I'm very excited about. I think it's wonderful. So I want to throw out some more information. Just get the information out there, and then we're going to start the discussion, okay? Humans have a subconscious fear of unity and of diversity. They even have a subconscious fear of enlightenment. They hear these words, a lot of them hear these words, and they subconsciously hear, okay, I will no longer exist. If there's unity, there's this fear of the individual self no longer existing. The same is true with diversity. It's like, no, if I accept and allow things to be different than what I am or what I feel I need, or, you know, all of these things, then I will disappear. It's really a fear of losing self, which is not possible, because when something exists, it cannot not exist. All right? It can change form, but it still exists. There's a fear of unity because subconsciously humans understand university requires acceptance of and embracing of diversity, but they've been programmed over millennia to see diversity as diametrically opposed to unity, and more specifically to the survival of their individuality. It triggers a survival response to their individual ego identity. Now, see, these things, if we understand these things from this perspective, it makes it a little easier to start seeing a few things. One, how it would be possible to start, you know, creating unity within a realm of duality. But it also makes it easier for us to understand the other side, if you will, of what we think should be the path to unity. Right now, humans of Earth, because of these subconscious fears, because of all of this really programming, okay, that has transpired, I will say that it is also very directly connected to the 17.8 ATKI, which is the 17.8 Atlantean Technology Karmic Imbalance that we talked a lot about in the last 3 chats. So if you're not familiar with that, you might want to listen to some of those chats and get a better understanding of that. But basically what that is, you say it very simply and very quickly, Atlantean technology karmic imbalance is a karmic imbalance that belongs to the collective consciousness of humanity. And it was created in the civilization of Atlantis, where this collective consciousness of humanity last existed as a collective, and it was created by the misuse and abuse of sacred technologies. Okay? We'll have another program on that another time where we go really deep into that and helping with that. Okay, but right now, because of all of this ego identity survival, it's really a fight or flight instinct from the ego's point of view, if you will. When you hear, when people hear oh, we need to create unity. We need oneness. But we need diversity. You know, I mean, really, you tell people right now, diversity? No, 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 no. You know, got to be like this, got to be like this. Okay. What is going on right now, because of the imbalance in this collective reality, the vast majority of humans place priority on the survival of the individual over the survival of the species. And I'm just talking about humans, okay? Every other species on this planet has survival of the species as the priority over survival of the individual. That's a little bit of a complicated concept, you know, because then you can get all types of conversation going on, but conversation's good. That's where we've got to start. But think about that. Think about if, okay, all humans had survival of the species of humanity as a priority over the survival of their individual self. Everything that we did as a collective, as a global society, would then be aimed at survival of humanity, okay? And this would flow out and manifest as survival of all other life on Earth, including the planet. See, like I said, the answer is simple, but it's the implementation that's difficult. All right. I'm going to read a message from one of the aspects of self that I work with, and then I'm going to turn this over to Ariane to share some information, and we'll go from there. This, like I said, this is just information from one of the aspects of self that I work with. I'm going to leave that at that. I'm going to take responsibility for sharing this information. It became titled as the two faces of unity consciousness. Okay. People, humans, spout, we want unity from one side of their mouth, while simultaneously spouting vitriol about some other group of people, situation, faction of our society, and collect the other side of their mouth. Humans, the vast majority, do not want unity among diversity of their species. They want compliance from all others with their belief system. Most humans think, at least subconsciously, that unity means everyone must think, act, and live as they do. They say, only when everyone thinks, acts, and lives like I tell them they should, thus giving me what I want, will there be true unity in not the world, but in my world. What they want is to be made to feel comfortable and superior to others. This is true of people within all of Earth's current spiritual and religious belief systems, including what is known as the Spiritually Awakened Consciousness Expansion Group or faction of humanity's society. Food for thought. Simply food for thought. Ariane, I'm going to ask you to share some information that you have with us this evening.
Hi. All right. So the animal with a message that's pertinent for this calendar week is manta ray. That's not what we're talking about today. That message is already posted on YouTube. And I first do apologize. I've got heaps of notes. So if I keep looking down, that's what I'm doing, keeping on track. But we have another animal that's come forward with a message for today. And that's specifically for those of you who've joined us here live on this chat, but also for those who will join us later on in No Time and No Space. And whilst it's a message that can be very relevant to anyone who hears it, It's actually directed towards those who call themselves starseed or light worker. The medicine that we're being gifted with today is from B. There's a tradition of telling the bees when a family member dies. It's a tradition that's steeped in history. But did you know this history goes back thousands of years to the Druids? They revered bee, and I suspect societies before then as well actually understood the significance of this tiny creature. It's not just those who have passed that you go and talk to the bees about, it's every important event in your community. Because bee is a spiritual messenger. He's in communication with the divine. I kind of see it like he's the insect version of a telephone line straight to the goddess. Bee is symbolized by the sun. He's fire energy. He's a master of metamorphosis. He lives a life of change, and as an adult, he grows hair on his legs in order to be able to go out there and gather pollen. And he takes flight in a way that's, well, it's simply impossible. His wings are not big enough to support his body, and the whole thing is not aerodynamic at all. So everything about him says that he shouldn't be able to fly, but he does. What this tells us is that we should never say that something is impossible, because it's quite possible that the impossible can and will happen. So no matter how impossible your task seems, you are super powerful and you can make it happen. There's a couple of provided, so provided you don't give up, and provided you don't allow the addictive energies of fear and anger to rule you, and provided you learn to work with other starseeds in the community. B is letting us know that we have a very specific job. It's why starseeds are here right now. We came here with goals, and we need to recommit to achieving those goals. Bees communicate through dance, letting others in the community know where to go to collect pollen, what direction, how far to travel. And like them, we need to communicate, sharing information in whatever manner best describes the direction we should travel and the goal we are aiming for. We need to develop a strong work ethic together. We need to come together, determined to succeed. B reminds us that we are a part of a collective consciousness, a community. And despite how difficult it might appear, we can fly. The strong work ethic that B is known for also includes a commitment that is so strong and so protective of the hive that the bee will even sacrifice himself to protect his home. Now, that doesn't mean we have to sacrifice ourselves, just that we have to develop a very strong determination that we will come together to protect our home, our planet, Gaia. At the moment, we're all scattered, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Another thing that B asks us to look at is how productive we're being, how well we're sharing the burdens. Are you one that has a very heavy load? Or are you waiting for someone else to tell you what to do? Find balance in your life. There's that whole pendulum that Essence was talking about. Find balance in your life. So yes, starseed, your work is essential, but don't live at either end of the spectrum. Take time to come into the middle and smell the flowers every now and then. With bee medicine, you're reminded that you are part of a much larger community. That means you have support and you're able to give support. You're not doing it alone. With persistence and teamwork, and with every starseed knowing their role, we can do this. And even if we're not aerodynamic, with the intention and support of the community, we can fly. Thank you. Back to you, Essence.
Thank you. Thank you, Ariane. I think that, wow, I mean, bee, you know, and we all know how important bee is to the survival of our species. You know, I mean, now
There
think
was so
about
much
this.
that linked in that one when it flew. It was like, whoa, all this information. Come on. It's so pertinent.
Exactly, exactly. You know, and I can attest, I can tell you where I live personally, physically on the planet, the bees, I had to give up gardening probably anywhere somewhere 5 to 7 years ago because of the disappearance of the bees. I tried again this year just to put out tomato plants, you know, a couple of tomato plants and pepper plants and a squash. I tried, oh God, that's a gorgeous plant, but beautiful blooms, but no fruit because there's no bees. There's no pollination. I cannot even grow a garden here because there are no bees to pollinate. Okay? That's a part of the 17.8 ATKI. We have to come together. I know it's a difficult task. I know it is seemingly impossible that we can fly, but together we can. With the support, we have to come together. It's not easy. No one said it's going to be easy. The answer is simple. The implementation is difficult, seemingly impossible at this moment. But we cannot let what seems impossible stop us from action. And action to me means in the physical world, in other words, speaking up when we know we're supposed to, as the individual we are, whatever it might be about, whatever the situation that we are called to, okay? And it's not the same for everybody. It's not the same, and that's okay. All right? But if you don't stand up and speak to injustice, even just in the moment when it's right before you, this is what I'm hearing to share, and so I'm going to share it. If you don't speak up as the star seed, in the moment when injustice is placed before your eyes, within your reach, if you don't speak up and call out injustice, you know, are you doing your part? You know, you don't have to save the entire world by yourself. That's not even possible. We all know that. That's not possible. But what we can do together, one little bee, and one little bee, and one little bee, and one little star seed, and one little star seed, and one little star seed. Okay? I've got one more bit of information, message that I received from Navari at the first of this month. I want to share it, and then I'm being called Kabaha to turn it over to you. This is a reminder, because remember, first of all, I want to reread the Metatronic numerology I am keyword phrase that is the star seed I am frequency. It is the 655 dual frequency. And it says, I am that which is aware of the responsibility of clearly hearing the voice of love. I am responsible for anchoring love's message of rebalancing within the collective field of humanity. I am starseed. The message from Navari is starseed. It is not your job, your work, or your mission to save humanity. Never has been. Your mission, your original mission, was to come to Earth camouflaged as human and working together with other star seeds, raise the frequencies surrounding this planet and those held by the collective consciousness of the species of humanity of Earth, and then to hold and maintain those frequencies at a level that allows the species of humanity to save itself. Information, reminder. We're not here to save humanity. We're here to assist humanity in saved self, responsibility for self. But first, that must begin with each starseed, each light worker, each whatever term you use to identify or you identify with yourself, okay? They're just terms. First, you have to recognize and remember who you are, what you're here to do, and to hold that space. To move into action when called for. We're here to do physical work, and we're here to do energetic work, and we're here to do it in balance. We are the balance. We are the frequency setters, if you will, okay, of the frequency necessary to assist humanity, once again, information, into coming into taking on responsibility for the self, in taking on holding the frequency that will allow humanity to understand and see and recognize that survival of the species must take precedence over survival of the individual. And that by doing so, by holding that perspective, the individual is not lost. The individual will flourish when the species flourishes, because the truth is, if the species does not survive, the individual will not survive. Okay. Kabaha?
Hi. Well, I wanted to share with all of you, maybe some of you already saw the post. It's a picture, actually, cartoonish picture with a quote I posted this week. And I'm always amazed how the timing of information we're getting before those chats, and quite often the last minute. So I wanted to share it first of all with you because it's so, I mean, the image is so powerful, and the quote also, just to show the imbalance and the division at the moment in the collective consciousness of humanity. So here we go. We've got here us and them. So you can see clearly two groups shouting at each other. And then slowly we see them further far away, until we see the Earth as a tiny, tiny, tiny dot. So the cartoon itself, the image is already very powerful. But there is a quote, and that I thought, wow, I need to share it for, for the chat. There is perhaps no better demonstration of the folly of human conceits than this distant image of our tiny world. To me, it underscores our responsibility to deal more kindly with one another and to preserve and cherish the pale blue dot, the only home we've ever known. That, to me, is a powerful message where the collective consciousness of humanity is at now. In that edge, thinking, where do we go? Do we still carry on being divided? You've got such a huge division there. Or do we thinking about moving towards unity? That's the question. So I thought I'd share that.
Do we meet in the middle to begin?
Exactly, essence. Yes, I know people got your mem. Absolutely. Do we start working on that? I know, and I agree with Essence, it is hard. It's not easy. It's not easy. Because you talk to these two groups, they'll say to you, you talk about diversity, they're going to say to you, no, we stand in our truth. That's the way we think. That's the way we see you, the opposite group. And we're not going to change our mind. And people can be so narrow-minded. That's one of the issues there, okay? Now, that's the first thing I wanted to mention. Second thing, while I was doing some research on the internet, I found a wonderful quote from Plato, the Greek philosopher. So we're talking about someone a few years back, let's say. And it's quite relevant to Plato said, we are all born whole, yet need each other to be complete. How about that? He knew already.
Can you repeat? Would you repeat that, please?
Sure. We are all born whole, yet need each other to be complete. Is it powerful, really?
Yes.
I mean, just
Yes. Unity through diversity.
absolutely. Okay. Now, one thing, when we started discussing, with Essence and Orion, one day I basically meditated and asked Spirit, well, hang on, that's wonderful telling people, we need diversity in order to, create unity in duality, in the realm of duality. But how can I explain that in a simple way that people can understand? And it was very interesting. They came up with a picture of a jigsaw puzzle. And I thought, oh yeah, of course. Think about it. Each piece, different shape, different color, different pattern, but all put together create that beautiful tapestry. But it's not the only thing as well, because the message I got, we are all connected despite our diversity, and each of us do make a big difference. That was the key message too. So that's one way I thought, well, yeah, I must, absolutely, explain that. But otherwise, the other thing I wanted to mention, Essence, when you mentioned about duality being necessary in that realm where we are at. Yes, it is definitely necessary because we are here to evolve. We're here to learn. It's an experience. And I thought about it. It's almost like that duality provides us with conditions, and I call it frictions, for growth to occur. So for now, that's it. That's all I've got. We can go back to.
That's interesting. Thank you. Thank you very much. First of all, I love those analogies and that information. When you were speaking there, just the last, I flashed on and share quickly. I know I wrote something, I don't remember now where it was here just a few days ago, but in it I mentioned, actually I think it may have been someone's here. I'm not going to mention names because I'm not sure, I don't want to divulge someone's privacy, but if this person will know who they're speaking of. As a matter of fact, I'm going to pull it up. So I'm going to look for it. Something I wrote that made me think of it, but it's directly related. Is actually I mentioned Madame Blavatsky, and so Ariane, Kabaha, anyone else? I'll tell you what. Let's take this time. And anyone else here that's joined us live, you have anything you would like to say or a question you'd like to ask? Go right ahead now, Orion. Or Kabaha, one of you, I'm going to turn this over to you to take care of that while I research and find what it is I want to share real quick.
Okay, I'm going to jump in. I have nothing prepared. When Essence and I'm talking about diversity here and survival of the species, Essence and I ended up on a 3-hour phone call working this one out. And we started with how do humans survive? What made humans survive, going right back to square one? And we started talking about how we pulled ourselves out of the water basically and came onto dry land. So what was happening there, that species that's in the water, the sort of little single cell plankton or whatever it was that grew a couple of legs, it diversified. And because it diversified, that particular species in a new form was able to actually survive and to become many, many other species on the planet for that diversification. So if we got thinking about the what was going on there, you know, I mean, I suspect there wasn't any actual physical thoughts going on in our little plankton with legs, but it was a case of, does that person, that one creature that came out first onto dry land, did it think of itself only, or did it actually move onto dry land in order to save the species? Because the water could all dry up. They could be all in a little puddle that was about to evaporate, or we don't know. But my first thought was, nah, it was thinking for itself. It was like, bother you, you can stay in the water, I'm getting onto the dry land. But as we explored it deeper, we actually realized that it was actually a survival species mechanism. That diversity is a survival species mechanism. And we took it right through all sorts of species in our talk. And where we ended up heading is the diversity within humanity. And that is causing a whole heap of problems now, as we know, with race, religion, all these sorts of things. But it right back to, we've got all these differences, but are we different? No, we're not. Are we looking to save oneself? Am I looking to save me by climbing out of the pool? Or am I able to look at saving the entire species of humanity? And that's the bit that humans have lost. If you look at dolphins, elephants, tigers, lions, all the other animals that we deal with, they will always look at saving the actual family group or the species, or the bigger picture. Humans tend not to do that. We tend to go, oh, you've got a different hair color, you've got different skin color, you've got a big belly, you've got an odd big toe. It doesn't matter what it is, something makes you different, then you're different. We don't look at the species, we look at the individual. And for me, that's a really, one of those things that is easy to say and almost impossible to implement, but we need to stop looking at the different types of humans as us and them that Kobaha was talking about. We have to come into the middle of that pendulum swing, and we need to be that center weight in the middle of that pendulum swing, so that everyone else sort of wings it around the outside, but we keep the balance in the middle. Please rescue me, Essence.
You are doing wonderful here. I was looking over this. Okay, hang on. Before I leave, I'm trying to remember. Where's my thought? Oh, dagnabbit.
If you want to, I can add something.
Go right ahead. Please, rescue me.
Well, it's just one sentence. Very interesting what Orion was saying, actually. And I think one of the conditions to create unity in a realm of duality, going back to that, is as individuals to rise above the individual self and to basically be more conscious of the collective consciousness of humanity as a whole. And that's the difficult part. That's just what I wanted to add. So
Okay.
as hopefully you can.
Yes,
We
yes.
say the words, but we don't actually do the actions. So we need to do the actions.
Yes, yes, I agree. The thought that I had earlier, there was some discussion earlier in the day. Okay, here we sit, this collective right now, in the situation that it's in, okay, in our global society. and it's extremely, you know, the chasm between the groups, let's just say, is so wide. All right. And I'm going to state this in a very simplified manner, just, you know, to make the point. So it's like, okay, so it's like, okay, Krones, great, awesome, sounds good. Let's start it. But where do you start? Okay. How do we, you know, immediately, how do we create unity in a realm of duality when the chasm is so huge? You know, because even if you've got one side, okay, and we're just going to use a two thing, right? Duality, remember? You've got one side that is absolutely more than willing to come to the bargaining table, let's say, all right, and to start a conversation. But then you've got that other, now these are the extremes, okay? But then you've got the other side that is like, ain't no way, ain't gonna happen, you know, I'll kill you first, ain't gonna happen. So we actually had someone sort of ask this question earlier today, and that's what got this conversation going. It's like, okay, so how do we start? The truth is, all right, it's not going to happen in one lifetime. Let's just be realistic. Okay? Miracles happen. Let's not hold out, you know, let's be the bee. But things like things like this, it's a journey. This is a collective journey. Okay? And to become unified, let's just say, in the sense we're talking about here, when things are so out of whack right now, okay, is like, seems impossible. So it's like, you know, you cannot get the two extremely diametric opposed sides together to even start talking. So don't try, because you know what, that is impossible right now. That is absolutely impossible. Don't bother wasting your time. And I'm going to tell you on here now, any of us who are on Facebook or any other social media where these types of things are shared, okay, in extreme, and that's exactly it, it's in extreme. No, you can argue, you can talk, you can try to this, you can try to that, and nothing is changing. No one's mind is changing. Nothing is changing. So you know what? Stop it. Because you're just creating more of the diversity. But that doesn't mean don't take action. I've got a quote here I want to read when I finish with my point here. What it means is you begin in the small steps. You begin with the individuals or the small groups that will listen. You bring them together, and it's that middle ground. Okay, where it's like, once again, like the information, you know, humans aren't looking for unity in their diversity. They're looking for compliance. They want people to give in to what they want. There's no unity in that. That's not unity. Unity is compromise. Unity is coming to an understanding that survival of the species over survival of the individual is priority one. Okay, first of all. So begin with the individuals that are willing, you know, and when I say individuals, I'm not only talking about individual humans, I'm talking about individual groups. Okay, start there. Start with that compromise. This seems to be a lost art, an absolute lost art. You can't even have civil conversation anymore, hardly, you know, especially if you're not trying to do it face to face. And that's another thing. There's got to be more physical face to face interaction. And I know that's really hard right now because the whole planet's been put on this get out of my face, keep your face out of my face. Sorry, I just had to say it that way. But that's okay. It's just one more thing. All right, I want to share this. I saw this earlier today, and it was like, to me, absolutely a part of this chat. And believe it or not, I saw this on Facebook. And so to me, I see that I am starting to see movement in the direction of unity. It's people want it. They do want it. They just have all these fears and all of this energy wrapped up around how to create it and what it means. I mean, first of all, just right there, what it means is so difficult for people. The other thing I think we forgot to mention, I want to throw it in here now, relationships. We had some keywords that we were given for this: unity, duality, diversity, relationship, communication. And the first relationship we were shown that has to be brought into balance, balance is another key word, is our relationship with ourself and our beliefs. It has to start there. It has to start with each of us really looking at self, really looking at the beliefs we hold, and really looking hard and going, is this belief I'm holding really assisting creating unity in a realm of duality? Or is this belief that I'm holding on to maybe a little too strongly maintaining the division and not allowing for diversity? We all have to look at that within ourselves. That's where it has to start. Okay? All right. This is a quote. This is actually from I'm going to guess a book. I really never did find out where. I'm going to find out later. But it sounded like the way it was shared from a book. Someone had shared something. But there was or an interview or something. So I'm not going to mention any names except for the theologian, philosopher who was mentioned, and that is Reinhold Niebuhr. Okay, Reinhold Niebuhr, just for those who don't know who that is, was an American Reformed theologian, ethicist, commentator on politics and public affairs, and a professor at the Union Theology Seminary for more than 30 years. He is the person who wrote what is known as the Serenity Prayer. I think most people are familiar with that, the one that says, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Okay? But anyway, so it was a politician, a world leader politician, okay, who was asked if they knew who, if they'd ever read any work of Reinhold Niebuhr. And their answer was, I love him. He's one of my favorite philosophers. So then the person who had asked if they knew, asked this high-level world leader politician if they knew. So what did you take away from him? What did you learn from studying Niebuhr's work? And they said, I take away the compelling idea that there's serious evil in the world and hardship and pain. And we should be humble and modest in our belief we can eliminate those things. But we shouldn't use that as an excuse for cynicism and inaction. I take away the sense we have to make these efforts knowing they are hard and not swinging from naive idealism to bitter realism. Balance, action, love, humbleness, humility, caring, love, giving. And that was from a politician. I thought that was profound, in all honesty. and a seed of hope. This reality, this collective reality, will change. It's a journey. We're moving. We have choices to make, large, major choices to make. As star seeds, and that's who the IKoK, that is basically our main audience we speak to, because we are very much about the energy and the frequency and the understanding at that level. We are saying it's time to remember again. So many have gotten lost. We talked about this in the last chat. Please, if you haven't listened to that chat, please go on to our YouTube channel and listen to it. It's time to remember that it is our responsibility to clearly hear the voice of love and to clearly anchor its message into the collective energy field of humanity. Kabaha, did you want to?
Just wanted to add two things, two words coming to mind actually there. Tolerance. This is a very, very strong word to me. And I thought about it the other day. One way to get to that place of tolerance is knowledge. There are so many people on this planet.
Excuse me just a moment. I got to give that one an amen. Sorry.
But it's true. It's just, I'm not saying I've met many people who have a lack of knowledge, but the ones I've met were not open-minded because of the lack of knowledge and couldn't tolerate the differences, the diversity you can see in the world. So, yeah.
Very good point. Very good point. Thank you. Ariane, you have anything you want to say here or add, or anyone else for that matter at this point?
Not really. I just, I think I said plenty just before, but yeah, and another word that is misused and missed a lot. It's probably not as powerful as tolerance, but to me it's important. That's word respect. We just don't respect those differences. We don't honor them through respecting, I believe this, you believe that, I will respect your belief as not mine. We don't do that. And for me, that's the first step towards meeting in the middle. So.
Okay, thank you. As you were speaking that, I was hearing and feeling to share that as star seeds, as empaths, as energy workers, and all of these things and labels that we use to explain what we know we're talking about when we use those terms. We have to, but this to me comes from that looking at self, that relationship with self and beliefs. We have to learn to control our energy, is the only way I know to say it. Because, okay, what am I hearing here? Let me pull this in. Because what I'm hearing here is, okay, let me give you an example. You get into a conversation with someone, okay, and they do not agree with your point of view. Well, that can feel like energetically, all right, an attack, an energetic attack. Now, sometimes it is, okay, because the other individual is just that angry or holding that much fear. But what they're doing is they're actually just channeling and releasing their fear and their anger, that energy, okay? and they are directing it at you in that moment. So in that sense, it is an energetic attack. But if we can, once again, the knowledge, okay, to understand what is happening in that moment, okay, is really a desire, I guess you can say, from the other individual that is energetically attacking you. They're after energy, but they're after your energy because they're afraid and they feel alone. And we're connected energetically, all right? And they're looking for that, please tell me you love me. Please tell me it's okay, that I'm safe. Okay, and if we as starseeds, whose job it is to clearly hear the voice of love and to anchor it into humanity's field, if we are not awake and aware enough within ourselves that in that moment, now granted, remember, we're starseeds camouflaged in human form. So we have to remember that. Because yes, we have this agreement, okay, and we are in these human bodies, and the human body itself is going, it's cellular memory, if you will, okay, we'll just explain it that way, is going to react. But if the starseed is the perspective, is the eyes you are seeing with, see with your starseed eyes and not your human eyes in those moments, and you will very quickly be able to better truly hear, okay, what the message is from the human standing in front of you who is crying out to feel safe. Yes, Kabaha.
I want to add to that, and I totally agree with you, Essence. What sprang to mind as a starseed, okay, sometimes you're going to be challenged. People, as you mentioned, are going to disagree with you, okay. Anger will come out. And I know it's hard. From our place as a starseed, we need absolutely to look at that interaction.
Yes.
In a way that we need to look at it from a different perspective to understand the root of it. And I've got the word compassion, deep compassion coming from the heart as well. It's so important.
Yes. And the only way we can do that as starseeds is if I'm hearing to use the term retrain ourselves, okay, to stay in the starseed perspective, to stay in our expanded perspectives, to see in those moments through the eyes of the starseed, not through the eyes of the human, to feel through the energy body of the starseed, not through the human physical form in those moments of energetic attack. Yes, ma'am?
That's why it's so hard. And I do understand it's so challenging.
It's very hard.
It is very hard because, you know, sometimes you want to react. You feel like, well, hang on, I've been attacked, maybe with words or on an energy level.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, we have to remind ourselves to do that work from a different perspective.
Right. And I think that to me goes back to really kind of one of the first steps, if not the first step, is looking at our relationship with ourself and our beliefs that we hold, because our beliefs are energy that we're holding within our form, within our energetic form. So if a belief is a low frequency, let's just, say it in terms that let's speak star seed for a while. What do you say? Okay. If we hold beliefs that are low frequency within, okay, our star seed form, that's going to come into our physical form. Ariane, do you have something?
I was just thinking, I'm a holistic therapist, and a lot of the work that I did when I was studying is actually to do with that belief system and the cellular level that they're actually stored at, those belief systems, and flipping them. Flipping is my term. I take those thoughts, when as soon as you recognize them, you turn them around. The classic one is, I'm always afraid of dogs because I got bitten when I was 8. It doesn't mean that all dogs are able to bite you. So you have to get over that belief by flipping it that it isn't all dogs. So it just brought a correlation. The other correlation that jumped straight at me with that little conversation just there was, I'm reading Initiation by Elizabeth H. Again, and in that she is talking about being able to see out of the human body with herself, and that relates really well with looking at the world through the eyes of your starseed, but just using those eyes in your human body.
Right.
So that's all I need, all that's buzzing through my mind.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Yeah, and for anyone who's not familiar with that book, it's Initiation by Elizabeth H. It's a wonderful book. Lot there. I think we are going to start winding down. If anyone who is with us, I know everybody's always so shy when we're recording, but if you have anything that you would like to add or ask, you're welcome to unmute yourself and do that right now, or you can type it into the chat if you prefer. I also want to let everyone know, because we are getting ready to wind down this evening's chat, that we will be staying on after we stop the recording for a bit and chatting, so that you are more than welcome to there. I know most usually people who are too shy, yes ma'am, I didn't know if you wanted to do that this evening. That would be, I think, a perfect way to, Kabaha just showed me her cards. I didn't know if she wanted to draw one this evening or not. I think that'd be a perfect way. We're going to let her draw a card, and then we will end on silence after a bit of discussion, I'm sure, over what the card message brings us this evening. And like I said, you're welcome to stay on afterwards and chat with us if you like. So with that stated, Kabaha, over to you.
So I thought tonight I was going to use again the Starseed Oracle deck. I love that deck, and I thought, because of the theme, the topic we had tonight of the conversation, I thought it was the perfect deck anyway. So it's going to be a message related, hopefully, to our chat, and a message for the rest of this week. So let's see what we're going to get. Right. Oh, wow. I'm going to be absolutely speechless. I mean, it's just, I've got shivers all over me. Now, I'm going to describe, first of all, I'm going to give you the words of that card. But what struck me first was the actual picture. Okay, the title of the card, I'm sure Essence and Orion are going to say what you expect. Perspective is the title of the card. None of this matters. Zoom out, common ground. Okay, wait for it. Are you ready for the picture?
Oh, wow. The
I just
tiny blue
read
dot.
it every single time. But look, Look at it.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That's just fantastic.
Okay, so bear with me. I'm going to try not to repeat myself or repeat what we said, but yeah, you have.
Honestly, I don't know if that's going to be possible with that card. I'm sorry. Go right ahead.
I know, but okay. So now, first of all, looking at the picture, like on this one, yeah, actually it's a good term, zoom out. I love that term, zoom out. Well, if you look at the picture there, it's quite the same, okay? And for me, the message is very much about to take a step back and look at the bigger picture, okay? Looking at the bigger picture, and I mean the collective consciousness of humanity. Okay. Well, something I mentioned during the chat, being more open-minded. So I think it's time for us, part of the collective consciousness of humanity, to move away from that narrow-minded vision we can have sometimes and creating, you know, the division. So it's definitely time to I mean, that card is all about perspective. It's about changing perspective. Interesting. Spirit is showing me a picture of maybe a fence or like a wall that we create between us. So let's imagine there could be a fence or a wall actually between those two groups of people. But what Spirit is telling me, if I'm looking at the fence or the wall, it's not that thick. It could be, you know, destroyed, dismantled quite easily. So it's just to show us the potential to succeed and reach that unity, actually, in some ways. Now, okay. I've got a feeling there is also a message that rather than wasting our time to fight against each other, it's time to come together, to heal and to unify. That's the main message I'm getting from it. And it's very much connected with common ground, is to find that common ground. Come together to heal and unify. And I've got that sense as well. I feel my heart chakra getting warm. It's that deep compassion I mentioned to you, Essence, to be in that place as well, of deep compassion, of understanding. Wow, I think that's basically it, but I'm still shocked. I'm so shocked. In a positive way, of course.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. I have to say.
Essence, you warned me yesterday.
I did. Yeah, I told you so. I told you so. I get to say that. I get to say that.
That's why it's funny. Until this morning, I was guided to share this. So now I can see the correlation.
That is really awesome. Thank you. Thank you, Kabaha. I want to share here. Angela has typed over in the chat. She said, wow. I had a mentor tell me once that tolerance is love with work clothes on. I like that. I like that. That's very good. Thank you, Angela. I like that. Thanks for sharing. Okay, one more time. Anyone have something they want to add or say? Ariane, you? Anything less? Okay.
No, I think I've pretty much said my lot for the day.
Okay, let's see. Okay, good night, Kira. Thanks for coming. We've got some messages going on over here. I want to share, Carla says, I feel like this has been the message I've been getting but not listening to. My husband and I just talked about hive mentality tonight and working together for the whole. So many synchronicities always. Yeah. Yeah. And it's, you know, the human part of us and the starseed part of us for that matter. Love our synchronicities. You know, they're very important, and we're always grateful for those. So, with that stated, I think we are going to begin our saying good night for this evening. But once again, we're going to do just a little bit of meditation, and we're going to end in silence. I'm going to, during our coming together, I'm going to, excuse me, I'm going to share some language of Lemuria energy blessing, and then we will just end the chat in silence. So let's all just take a breath, a couple of deep breaths in, bring ourselves into center space again, although I believe and feel that we have been within this wonderful centered energy bubble this evening that we created to begin this evening with. And I want to thank everyone who joined us live, and those who will be joining us in no time, no space. We see you, we recognize you, and we honor you as well. So bring yourself to center, quiet the mind. Allow all the information and energy that we have shared together in this chat to move into and through your physical form, your energetic form. Allow it to be the seed of unity planted within your heart and mind, and allow that seed to grow and allow it to expand outward to share with this collective. Kara unche anapa'u nagian. I am the ancient future transitioning immortal. Kara unche anu anapa'u nagian. Kara unche nagian janehe gai uaka'ai ani. I am the ancient future immortal, birthing the genesis of new lands. Kara unche janahe gai uaka'ai ani. Kara unche prana. I am the ancient future breath of life. Kara unche prana. Kara unche prana. Kara unche prana. Kara unche prana.